Once again, we
Professor feeling
appreciate
good.
you.
We
I
gonna
mean,
jump right into it. I
you
know
know,
you
this is
feeling
what we
good.
do, baby. This is what we do. Go ahead, take it, big man. Do your thing. Do your thing, big man. Do your thing. Do your thing, big man. Go.
Ain't none of that. Ain't none of that drink happening up in here. Well, welcome back to the Labor Lounge, everybody. We back with another interview. Tonight we got a special guest for you. We're sitting here with Johnny Simmons Photography. And we got none other than Johnny Simmons. Welcome to the Labor Lounge. How you doing tonight?
Thank you, my gentlemen. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
I know you are. I know you are. I've been perusing through Instagram and Facebook and all kind of things, and I see you out there making things happen in a big way. So shout out to you and your business, man. I'm happy for
Thank
you,
you.
and I'm
Thank
happy
you.
you go spend some time here with us tonight.
I am, man. I am. And but to be honest, it was a hard road getting here. Schedule's been kind
Who
of
you
packed.
telling?
Schedule's been kind of packed. So,
Right.
but I'm here. I'm actually happy that I'm here because I'm able to sit down and relax right now.
That's what's up.
I've been on my feet for several hours today, so I'm good to go.
Okay.
Well, I want you to sit back and take it easy. We're going to value your time because we appreciate you carving out the time for us tonight. Here at the Labor Lounge, man, we just like to shine light on people who are serving people. And you're definitely out there doing that, especially with the business that you're in, Johnny Simmons Photography. So you are a photographer and you're out here capturing memories for people on a day-to-day basis. So I would like to
Exactly.
get to know a lot more about you. You know, the interview is going to kind of go from where you started, where you're at, and where you're going. That's the theme, right?
That is it.
And
Yes,
hopefully
sir.
we can inspire people to go after their dreams because, you know, a lot of the times many of us have things that we want, things that we aspire for, and we just don't take the necessary steps. And I think you got a story that can definitely inspire some people. So people hear me every week. I'm tired of talking. Let's go ahead and pass the mic to you. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Yes, sir.
Well, hello everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Johnny, and I'm with Johnny Simmons Photography. I'm the owner and photographer of this company. And I tell you this, man, I always tell people, love what you do. Love what you do, no matter what it is. If you're going to be doing it every day, 9 to 5 or whatever hours you got, just love what you do. Sometimes you're going to have good days, sometimes you got bad days, but just love it. But besides that, definitely, again, I'm a photographer. I am a contract photographer. I am a portrait, wedding photographer. I do multiple different things. I try not to settle on one thing, but I'm gonna tell you this. This has been an amazing journey I have been on for the past 15 years of owning this business, if not even more. I learned a lot. I failed on some things, but failure helps you learn. So it's been a journey. It's been a journey. If you definitely want to, you can always check my website out at www.jdsimmonsphotography.com. Actually, that's my email. My website is jdsimmonsphotog.com. It's my website, and you can always go and check that out and see what kind of work I have going on. And if there's anything you're looking for, just give me a holler.
You know, I'm imagining you said the last 15 years. So prior to that, what was Johnny doing before he was a photographer?
Prior to that, I was going through the corporate ladder of Costco. And I was at Costco for about 13 years.
Okay.
If not longer. Me and Costco, we've had a very long relationship where I was there for several years and then I left to try something different. And then I came back. Love it. Love the company. Amazing company. Great company. They've always taken care of me. Benefits, pay, everything. I met a lot of great people there. But there was always something that I knew that being at Costco wasn't where I wanted to be for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Indeed.
So, and actually before that, before Costco, I'm gonna tell you, actually, where all this kind of started from. We'll go way back.
Okay.
Way back to Coral Springs, okay?
All right. Coral
Take it back to
Springs in the
Coral
map.
Springs. Yeah, put it on the map. Coral Springs, started at Coral Springs Middle School, moved my way up to Douglas, okay? In Douglas, I kind of fell into photography class at Douglas. Okay. A friend of mine told me about it. I'm like, I guess I'll check it out. I don't know. I'm like, whatever. Checked out photography class. And I did that for 2 years, my last 2 years of high school, and I loved it. So after that, I transitioned into college. I didn't go to college, I went to vocational school. And I did TV production and computer graphics. But during that time, I was working at a portrait studio, ASAP Photos in Coral Springs back in the days.
Okay. So let me ask you this, right? I imagine that if you're going back in these dates, considering today, majority of photography is taken, or if not all of it, with digital cameras,
Yes.
right? So did you have experience going ahead and developing real film in the lab?
I sure did. And I will tell you
That's
this,
what's up.
being in the photography classes at the high school actually it taught me about developing film, developing photos and images with all the chemicals and stuff like that.
Activator, developer, the stop,
stabilizer, stop, all that stuff, man. The dark room.
Right.
You know,
and then you had the little bag where you would deconstruct the actual film
taking
canister.
the film,
You had a little
the
tool
film
that you would
canister.
pop it. It's like a can opener, actually.
You know,
you use, right?
Exactly. Actually, I think it was a can opener.
It was a can opener.
Yeah, it was a can opener. So, you know, and from there, which was great from that, because I learned so much in that class. When I got the job at the portrait studio, which this was an all-around portrait, they did the portraits in there, and we developed and printed our own work. Right. So what I learned in high school, I just brought it straight to there because they did the same thing.
Right.
You know, working with black and white film, they had a dark room. I went in the dark room and did all the stuff. I did the chemicals. So, you know, that just prepared me for just the first stage of what was yet to come for me. That way I learned even more about printing with the big machines, you know, and dealing with the colors of, you know, when I look at an image, I can say, oh, it's too much green. I got to add this, or I got to add that, you know, to adjust the coloration and everything like that. So that just propelled me, you know.
You ever used a pinhole camera or made one?
Yes, we did that in high school. And actually, I think I still have that picture somewhere. Truthfully, to be honest with you, I have it somewhere. My pinhole picture. You put a film or what is it? You put a piece of paper, photo paper, in a dark box, and you stick a hole in it, and you just let it sit for I forgot how many minutes, and it'll put that actual image that is seen through the box on paper. That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that was super cool, man. I remember we did that with a Quaker Oats canister, and we went out into the parking lot, and we had like a piece of tape over the pinhole, and then we would go ahead and lift it and count, like, I guess like somewhere in the range of 10 seconds would
something
be enough.
Like that.
And then you would go ahead and put it down, go bring it back, and then hit up the dark room and let it go ahead and look and see what it did.
Exactly. And I tell you, those were fun days, man. They were fun. And my teacher, I forgot what her name was, but she was awesome. You know, I will tell you this. My senior year, I failed that class. Big fat. Because I was already graduating. And she knew it. I didn't do jack. Once in a while, I might do a project here and there. But she knew. She goes, you don't need it. I'm like, you're right. I don't need it. So I used to just go there to hang out. But I still learned. We still did our thing, though, you know. But, yeah, so from there, I mean, I was at the portrait studio. But like I said, I did TV production, which also is another part of it. Learning about behind the scenes of a news, being a newscaster or behind a news cameraman. And then I went over to computer graphics, and that's how I learned all my editing skills in computer graphics at Big Fatter Vocational School down in Dayton. So,
got you.
And then, you know, after that, I took another turn. I think, did I go on to Costco after that? I think I went to Costco after that. I think, don't quote me, because I did something else too. I'm an artistic type of a guy. I love art, no matter
Mhm.
what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I actually was a painting contractor for a couple of years. So I was out there in the sun, busting my butt, rolling and painting houses. But then when that house was done, you just take a step back and be
Mhm.
like, I did that.
Right.
I did that. So, I tried a couple different things in my time here on this planet. And it just helped propel me to where I am today. And I'll never change that. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Never
what's up,
change it.
man. Were
And then,
you
so,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you, when you transitioned from Costco to photography, right? I'm assuming this was from you going from the corporate ladder to going to photography. You stated before that you can't do this all your life. So I'm imagining at some point that must have clicked, right? Now, how
Yeah.
was the transition from the time that it clicked to moving into your first session?
Um, it, it was, hello?
No, he muted. It's cool.
Oh, he muted. Okay. Um, it was, it wasn't bad, but me build up to that because at Costco,
Hmm.
I had a lot of many hats. I started off pushing carts. I worked the food court. We had a photo lab, so of course I worked the photo lab in Costco for many years, and I learned even more. I took my skills that I had learned, and I took it right to Costco's photo lab. I've worked the pharmacy department. I was a pharmacy tech.
Hmm.
I was a stocker, and then when I moved up here to West Palm, I was offered a supervisor position, and that put me up in the next level of Costco, being a
Mm.
supervisor. Because and that was a whole different ballgame for me. Um, being a leader like that, and being someone for other employees to look up to and talk to if they have troubles or help out. That was a hard role for me to get into because I had to readjust my mind thought. You know what I'm saying? Had
Right.
to readjust all that. But I thought I did a great job. And unfortunately, I will say I had one of my downtimes to where I had to get demoted. We make mistakes.
Of course.
I didn't do my checks and balances on one thing, and I had to pay the price for it.
Facts.
Lesson learned. Lesson learned. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Part of life. Um, so at that time, I was actually doing photography a little bit on the side, just like little side gigs here, nothing big.
Right.
And I was already thinking about, man, I want to do my own business. And me and my wife used to talk about it. She goes, first she was like, well, why don't you open up a coffee truck? Because that was
Mm.
before the food trucks started getting big.
Right.
They were
Right.
getting out there, but they weren't big yet. I'm like, yeah, I guess I could do a coffee truck, but I don't know. Coffee though, like, so I started throwing some stuff around. And then she
Right.
said, she goes to me, she'll, you know what? You love photography. Why don't you do photography? I'm like, shoot, you know what? You're right.
That works.
So I just started doing that a little bit on the side, part time, and just start building that. But still working at Costco full time.
Hmm.
Um, and then me and Costco, we just stopped seeing eye to eye on certain things. Costco was going one way, and I'm a family man.
Right.
I'm a family man. So Costco needed a lot more from me than what I could give at that time.
Right.
So they weren't there. I could say they weren't. They weren't able to work with what I needed.
Right.
So we had to take a step apart. And
Yeah.
at that time, I was doing what I needed to do with my family, with my kids, my family, and building the photography business.
Right.
I will tell you this, it was scary. It was scary doing that because I had that stability with Costco. Even though I had my wife supporting me behind the
Right.
scenes and doing her thing at her job because she's a nurse,
Right.
but it was still difficult. I mean, we put ourselves in a tough situation, but we had to do what was best for our family at that time.
Right.
So I will say that whole situation just helped propel me into just going deep into photography and just say, you know what, I guess this is the time. I better just do it.
Mm.
So that kind of how that came about, and kind of never looked back, and I couldn't because once I started, I had to look forward, couldn't look back.
Mm.
I had to look forward and keep going, and that was difficult. and hard. You know, sorry about that kid in the background. That's my son. He's doing something.
Hey man, you a family man.
You've made that abundantly clear.
Right.
So,
And I'm a his
hey, so I want to dig into the fear of this thing here for a little bit, right? Because I think that's important. That's a big statement that you just made, because you left stability to go do your own thing. And that step right there is the hardest part, right? You had to go into the store. You had to go into Costco. I'm assuming you put in a 2-week notice. That would be the nice thing to do.
Yep, I did.
So you put in a 2-week notice, and you simply walk away not knowing where the income is going to come from. But now there's a different motivation. You got to do it on your own steam. I think that's a huge step, because many people just don't take that step. But, you know, with that being said, where are you at today from, you said 15 years ago. So where are you at today as far as how's the income? You got steady business? Is it still scary, or are you very comfortable?
You know, I will say this, where's the business at? I am basically, I'm not to where I can take lavish vacations all the time, but to me, if I'm making more than I was making as a full-time employee at Costco now on my own, that's a good thing. That is a very good thing, because when you do these things, you got to make plans. You got to plan. You got to have goals. Okay, you got to set a goal for yourself. And I finally now, after COVID, because COVID pushed me back, but finally now I'm way surpassed what I was making at Costco full-time, top paid at my top pay at Costco. So that's a good thing. The scary part is, can I keep it going again for next year? That's the scary part. Now, I'm planning, I'm working, I'm looking, I'm making connections with new people. I got more connections coming. So yes, to me, I think I'm putting in the work to make that next year's goal good, or meet it, or surpass it. Yeah. So you got to put in the legwork, and that's the scary part about it. You reached something, you reached a goal that's huge, and then you're like, okay, can I do that again? That's the scary part, I think, for me.
So you know, we talk about goals, and when I deal with some of my clients in the whole weight loss portion of my life, right? We talk about setting those goals, hitting those goals. So albeit that is scary, right? I feel like you're excited to take on the new challenge, because I think you've added many things to your repertoire. So what are some of the things that you actually do today that you didn't do when you first started?
Some of the things I do today now, my big thing that I have been doing now is getting in with companies, corporations, doing more of company contract work. Those are the big things now. Now I've gotten to the place in my business to where I can go to a company. If a company calls me, hey, this is what we need. All right, what are you looking for? We go through what they're looking for. This is what they need. Perfect. Here is my quote for what's going to be involved in all this. How many photographers I need, or videographers, or whatever they're looking to have. They can either take it or leave it. Now, sometimes I get it. Sometimes I don't. It does happen that way. I just lost one the other day, and I was like, oh man, well, move on to the next one. It just happens. But they liked how I handled it. So she goes, we're going to put you down in our books as someone we do look forward to working with eventually one day. So we're going to hold on to your name. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. I appreciate it. So that will say, getting into the corporate aspect of it is something I didn't start off with, because I didn't know where it was going to take me. Starting this photography business, I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. I just knew I wanted to take pictures. So I didn't know if I wanted to go down the wedding route, the portrait route, the food route, taking pictures of food, the product route. I tried it all, and I still do it all. I personally feel that as a photographer, we shouldn't really limit ourselves. But again, that's, like I said, that's my opinion. Now, there are tons of other photographers that say, I only do this, and they do it great. Oh, I only do that, and they do it great. But then they're turning down other stuff just because they can do that one thing. But what if they don't get that one thing, and for a month or two? and it does happen. So again, like I said, it's to each his own. You know, so but for me, yeah, I think getting into the corporate aspect of it and building a repertoire with a lot of these big companies. Like I got one right now that just booked me again for this year. They booked me last year. They took a chance on me. They booked me last year. They loved the work. They're booking me again this year. A big company. So I'm happy with that.
Nice.
So that's where I am with that right now. And of course, I still do all my other stuff too. You know, got to pay the bills.
Right. Big facts.
You know, it's crazy because when you think about photographers, like when I first had the conversation with you and we were going to get you on, you know, you think photography, and I go to this memory when I had my first child, where the people came in the room and they were taking a bunch of pictures. They put us in poses and they never gave me a price until the pictures came back and said, oh, here's the pictures, you fall in love, and then they say $5,000. I'm like, no, I ain't doing it, right? But that's how you look at photography.
Yep.
But there's pictures that we look at every day, and somebody is behind those things. So photography is actually a really big field. And it's something that I didn't realize until you and I started having the conversations about how you were getting into the corporate world, corporate events. You even did some things for schools too, didn't you?
Yes, it did.
Yeah. So, you know, the photography field is definitely a big field. So where do you look to be over the next 5 years?
To answer that one is, for me, it's a little difficult because I want to say I want to be comfortable. I want to be in a place of with my business to where I know I am at a place to where I don't have to worry now. Meaning that I know I got continuous clientele, repeat clientele coming in continuously every year. And I don't have to worry. I don't really have to go out and get new clientele. If they come to me, then that's great. So in 5 years, I say I want to be in a position with my business to where it's pretty much just doing itself. It's just, bam, okay, I got this, I got that. Boom, it's just doing itself. And then that way I'm maintaining, and I am not as working as hard of building it as I am past 5 years. I've been doing that. You know what I'm saying? So once the business gets to where it's just maintaining itself now, it's a locomotive. It's just running, and there's no stopping it now. And now things are just coming. And I feel that I'm starting to get there with how the past year has gone for me. And things are just starting to come my way. And I'm like, okay, I didn't even have to work hard to get that. Now that's just coming to me because now people are now, these big corporate company people are like, oh my gosh, check out Johnny Simmons Photography. He did our work. He worked for our company. It was great. Oh, call this guy, Johnny Simmons Photography. He did it. It's great. I also do a lot of work with the city of Riviera Beach. And I've got work from a lot of the people that they deal with, a lot of companies that they deal with. So it's who you meet and how well you leave an impression on them with your work and the kind of person that you are. And then they're just going to start throwing you stuff left and right. So in 5 years, yeah. In 5 years, I just want to see my business just propelling. It's just rolling itself, and I'm just right there, just picking up everything with it, just doing it.
Nice.
You know?
Definitely want a automated, business that's, that. Do you imagine that you would have a company with photographers under you?
I thought about that too. Yes and no. I don't want to get too big because then if you get a little too big, because I've seen photographers do this, you kind of lose control because you got too many people to look after. You got too many people wondering what they're doing. Are they doing a good enough job because they're working for you under your name, but then are they putting out good work for your name? It becomes too much of a headache. I don't mind dealing with like 1 or 2 photographers, which is what I deal with right now. I deal with at least 2 other photographers that I work with that I bring under my belt, and I, help them out, help them improve and stuff like that. And we work great together.
Nice.
But anything bigger than that, I don't think I'd go over 3 people unless I team up with another company, like a video company, and say, hey, let's team up. We can bring us this much extra money if we team up together and bring our clients in together and we go hit this hardcore together. That's something I do because then I'm not being in control of all his team. He has his team, I have my team, but then we coming together and we're just racking them all in together.
I'm doing the package deal.
So something like that, yes, I definitely would like to see And actually, I still do that today. I do that right now. So that I will do, but have a whole team of my own, maybe about 2 to 3 people.
Gotcha.
That's about it. Nothing bigger than that because it just gets too much and you get out of control and then you start losing control. And I've seen this happen with other photographers. Start losing control and they're doing terrible work. Well, you did this and did that. And I'm like, well, I didn't do that. And I look at them like, you got a little too big, didn't you?
So
they got greedy.
let me say this right now. In some of the fields that I've had, we've had specific liabilities to that actual nature, right? Like, you know,
Yeah.
I put up a TV and the potential liability is that I did it wrong and it falls off the wall, right? You know,
Yep.
what are some of the specific liabilities that come with doing photography?
Biggest one of all, losing someone's photos.
Data?
Yes.
Data loss?
Losing their photos. Gone. Done. They got nothing.
Yikes.
That is huge. And that is terrifying. And that happened to me one time. And I vowed to never let it happen again.
So you do like a redundant backup?
Yeah, at that time when that happened, I had just bought this new camera that had a backup, but I didn't know yet how to activate it. So
wow.
The camera glitched and an error code came up. And I only, out of all their images, this was for a corporate company. This company could have been huge for me. Company from California came to Florida, found me and asked me to do their job. Done. That was the worst. That company could have been huge for me. Error code messed it up. They only had 4 images I had.
Yikes.
And I had to give them back all the money.
Oh, that hurts.
So that hurt. That hurt big time. That was one of the most stressful things I have ever been through owning my business so far.
So what is your solution to that situation going forward?
Back up. Get cameras with dual chips. Back it up. Then learn what your camera could do. Because after that happened, I learned I could have recovered those images on that chip. I didn't know that.
Data recovery.
You live and you learn.
You live and you learn. But since I had already formatted the chip, it erased everything.
No. Because I get it, because you thought it was an error, so the natural thing would be to reformat it to come back to scratch. I get it. And then in that process, you're deleting everything.
Deleted it all. Just got rid of everything. So whatever it had saved that I could have fixed, wiped it out.
Yikes.
You know.
So then, I'll tell you this. It happened a year or so later. It happened. I said, oh, I got this. Pulled them back up. Bam, done.
Good to go.
Good to go.
Experience is the best teacher.
That's it. You live and you learn, man.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you lost those photos the first time, did a bead of sweat run down the middle of your head?
I didn't know how I was going to talk to this big company. This company was huge. Yeah. I didn't know how I was going to talk to them. I didn't know what I was just like, I got to do this. I got to. And when I talk big, they had their event at the Breakers on Palm Beach Island. Okay. Big company, so many people. I took a big company Photoshop of everybody, hundreds of people. It was like over 100 people in this company. I stood on a ladder. I took a big shot. All that gone.
Whole bunch of things that nobody really wanted to do over again, basically.
Yep.
I mean, by the time he lost the photos, he was sitting in the office somewhere.
The crazy thing was he really didn't lose the photos. It just hit that error, and he just didn't know how to recover them at the time.
I didn't know how to recover it. But I do now.
Yeah,
we've all been there. We've all been there at some point or another. You know, I had a show long time ago, about 12 years now. We did in my Scalavan days. We opened up a show for Deslock Piccolo. He's a local artist down here in Miami, right? Mm-hmm. And I had a camera, digital camera. It had those little discs at the moment. We recorded the show, probably one of the best shows we ever did. And at some point throughout the night, I dropped the camera, and the disc wouldn't play back. And for the life of me, I was like, oh my God, we lost this disc. That could have been on YouTube today. And let me tell you something, it hurts today because I still have the disc in a box in the closet. I still have that disc and I don't know what to do with it. So I know it hurts, and I didn't have no money on the line.
It hurts. But you know, the money itself, that hurt too. But knowing that could have been a company I could have had a good relationship with that would have brought me even more money down the road. I lost that. I apologized up and down, but that's not going to do anything. They're not going to trust me. Right. So, you know, again, it was hard, but it was a lesson learned. I learned a lesson, and I'll never let that happen again.
In situations like that, the way I look at it, you know, and this is just my little silver lining, because again, I say we've all been there. When you've done something and it's impactful, like the scenario you give us, it'll make you valuable to somebody in the future because now you know how to handle that situation.
Exactly.
So it's dark in the moment, but for future, you know, I'll make that a part of my sales pitch. Hey, look, I've even had this situation where, you know, if it's a concern for you that this can happen, no, we got a plan for that too. This is how we do it. And you move forward. They go, like, oh my God, this guy's been through it. There you go. I
tell you this, it happened to me another time with my external hard drive on my computer desk. For some reason, you know, when you have an external hard drive, they have internal mechanisms that move, and they move. Okay, so sometimes what happens, if someone just happens to tap the desk wrong, that thing might have a bad day and have an attitude and say, "Oh, screw you, I'm going to mess up."
Right.
And it did was it put an error on several different folders of mine, and one of them was a wedding I was working on. So. But lesson learned, I figured out, you know what? I had to get a program that did a rebuild of the images or something like that. I forgot what it was called. Recovery. It was a recovery program.
Recover.
Yeah, I had to do a recover from that. And it took hours. But I did recover them. And I saved my images. I saved the wedding photos for my client. And that was that. So, you know, that was another thing. So now I really try to now just deal with solid state drives, which are they don't have no internal moving parts, so you could drop them, you can beat them, and it won't do an error because they have no moving parts. Another lesson learned.
Yeah. Well, of course, I don't recommend you dropping them, of course. But.
Yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't drop them, but I mean, if it happens to just, oh my gosh,
right,
I'm not going to stress too much about it. And then I do a lot of cloud saving too. I do a lot of stuff on cloud. So I'm double backing up. I'm triple, you know, I'm doing everything I can to back up.
Yeah, redundancy.
You know, so it won't happen again.
So what I was working on before the show is I was able to go ahead and go through a lot of your social media. And I found some of your work. Would you mind if I show a little bit to the people?
Go right ahead, little bro.
All right, that's what I'll talk about. So this is Johnny. Hey. This is shot by Johnny Simmons Photography. So I'm going to show these pictures. We scroll through through them, and then see if you can kind of give us some context behind it. So here we go. We got this. I'm sharing the screen.
Screen.
Yeah, I know. So here we go.
This one right here was fun. This was a wedding that I did. And they were into Harry Potter like crazy.
Wow.
So they wanted to do like something dealing with Harry Potter. So I was like, I got an idea. I set them up on the beach. This was all on the beach. And they had their wands. And I said, I'm going to surprise you. I went into Photoshop. All this was Photoshopped. Put them in a castle, had them holding their wands like they are now. They literally were posed like that outside. And I just did my Photoshop magic. And started photoshopping them having a wizard battle.
Wow,
that was fun.
Awesome.
That was awesome. Dope, yo. I like this idea. It's very unique to me, man. You know, you never really think about this with photography, but this is cool with editing and everything.
Yes, that was fun. They were awesome, and they loved that picture.
That's awesome. So we got another one here. Let's see. Go to the next slide.
This one. This was this is actually the bride. That's her brother. He came home from the service to walk her down the aisle. That was a touching moment right there. He actually surprised her coming home.
Wow.
So that one was awesome. And that was beautiful couple. They still keep in touch. This was probably about 5 years ago, maybe or so. And every so often they'll check me out and ask me if I'm available to do a family portrait because they have a son. So yeah, that was a nice wedding right there too.
Awesome.
Mm.
All right, I do a little bit of photography artwork, meaning sunsets, scenery photography. This is in my neighborhood at the neighborhood park I live at. It was a sunset, but technically there was no sun there. I added that. So it looks real with the sunset, the colors in the sky in the background, but I just said, you know what? It's missing something. It needs a sun. So I put it in.
He said, so I put it in. Just like that.
You know, that's that artistic ability. He said he was an artist.
It looks like a movie cover, man. You know?
Yes, it does. I do a lot of that stuff. And, you know, you would think I have all this stuff on my walls, but I just haven't had time to print a lot of this stuff out.
Now, this one, I think you and I had a conversation before the show. You actually found an outlet to do pictures such as this and get them framed and actually sell from a shop of some sort, correct?
Yeah, I do have some artwork in my neighborhood pool store. And then she let me put some stuff out there. So far, I've only sold 4 pieces of artwork, which is good. So every so often I go in there to check everything out. If anybody had any questions for me, I have my business cards up, you know, but yeah, I'm trying some new stuff here.
Nice.
You know, because it is, you can make great money in selling work like this, you know, so.
Absolutely.
Another wedding photo. You know, it's just about capturing those special moments. He was getting himself situated, ready for his bride, you know, getting ready to go walk down the aisle and watch her walk down the aisle. Another special moment. I do like black and whites, and sometimes black and whites bring out more of those emotions and feelings. So that's what that photo is of right there.
That's a magazine cover, man.
Yes, yes.
You know, like Glam or, you know,
Exactly.
Vogue or, you know, anything by Condé Nast, you know, all the brides.com type of things, you know, and I think they would be interested in that shot right there.
That's a very good shot right there.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned capturing the moments. Do you find it difficult to be a fly on the wall to catch these type of moments?
Actually, no, not really. Not really. Okay. Because actually, a photo shoot, I just did an engagement shoot today. And the lady was like, when I was done, she goes, "Oh my gosh." She goes, "You took this picture?" I'm like, "Yeah." I showed her the picture after I took it. She goes, "Oh my God, that picture looks amazing." She goes, "I saw you over there. You were behind these bushes." I'm like, "Yeah, I was a creeper in the bushes taking a picture of you." That's how I got it.
So do you come around with camouflage on the back, like you ducking in the trenches?
I say, in order for me to get those shots, I gotta hide in the bushes to get these shots. She goes, "It was so fun. I saw you over behind these trees." I'm like, "What the hell is he doing?" I was like, I had to get this shot. This one. I just did this photo shoot November. I think back in November. This is a maternity shoot, and this picture, I love this picture. Adding that black and white with that pop of color, because that actually is the color of her dress. Well, her cover up that she had, but this was her maternity session. Of course, you can't see the baby, but she was just standing there looking. I said, "Hold that pose. Put your leg up." I posed her a little bit. I said, "Just look out into the sea."
Yeah,
took that picture
cool.
right there.
You know,
bam. She loved it. She loved it, and I love it. I think it's amazing.
That was a perfect drink, man, because the wind hit that and gave it that effect right there. And then you hit the color to go ahead and accentuate that, and then everything else it's nice, man. It's almost like when you come to somebody's home and they have an accent wall, you know?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. But yeah, those are good selections there. Good selections.
Yeah. I went through your social media and I was able to go ahead and capture some some stuff, and I will say this: I think you neglect Facebook a little bit more because Instagram has some stuff on it. I was like, man, I need to get it, but you can't steal from Instagram.
Yeah, they got it locked down. You can't even copy a link from Instagram. They're like, no.
Yeah, there are some stuff I don't put on Facebook that I do put on Instagram.
Now, I think one question I did want to ask was, you do boudoir photos as well?
I do boudoir photos.
You look stressed about it.
No,
Be the sweat hitting right there, you know.
I'm not stressed about it. I love boudoir photography, and it's not for the reason you think.
No, for the artistic, of course.
It is
right.
very, very artistic. It's a beautiful art,
Right.
beautiful when it's done right. And I love boudoir sessions, man. They are amazing. The body, the way the lines flow. If you can pose a person correctly, let it be man or woman, and you can get the lines flowing just right sometimes, man, the body's a work of art.
So
it really is.
To me, when the boudoir photos happen, some of the importance comes from the prep work, right? Like,
yes,
you have to get some special products to put on the skin so it could get that matte finish and give you that like satin sheen to it. Like sometimes when you want to get like certain images, do you go as far as to advising people like, hey, go ahead and put this on or anything, or do the people come prepared in that way, or have a makeup artist or something?
Well, when I do a session like that, I make sure I sit and I talk to my client. We sit and we talk. I want to get their ideas. I want to get what they want, what they're looking for. That way we're on the same page. We go through, I say, send me ideas that you're looking for. So I can sit and look and say, okay, we could do this. What kind of outfits are you thinking about? Because outfits always also play a huge part in it. Then we got to think about location. Location plays another huge part in it because we want to capture the scene of what they want. What kind of feeling do you want this to show about you to whoever you're giving this to, or if this is for just yourself? So yeah, there's a lot that goes behind scenes before you even get to doing the photos. A lot, because you just got to make sure. And then you got to make sure the person's, especially being a male doing boudoir, because a lot of females might not be comfortable with it. You got to make sure that person is comfortable with you.
Right.
Because it's a very intimate moment. And, that person really has to open up and kind of take that fear away. So you got to make them feel very comfortable. And, that's a very hard thing to do for some people. But I've had nothing but good experiences with people when I've done those.
So
Great.
I imagine, right, and I don't know, you're probably gonna have to guide me on this. Trying to make somebody feel comfortable, you're probably gonna have to sell yourself, and your professionalism, of course. I would imagine that seeing your work from previous encounters would help. Is there like a release that you have to get somebody to sign to be able to show that work to somebody else, or is that just within the nature of photography to try to show your work and what you've done before?
It's pretty much good. You have to get a release. You can either get a release or you get a verbal release. Now, I would rather say you might want to get it in writing, to be honest with you. But anything of dealing with boudoir, I don't post anything unless me and my client have talked about it and they do give me the release to go ahead and do it. But otherwise, I don't post it because that's a very intimate and personal moment. You don't want to do that. Now, the ones that you might see on there are probably ones that there have been certain models who might want to update their photos for their own personal use, and they don't mind. So some of those ones I will post those because they already know they're posting it on the website already themselves. So we talk and I say, I'm going to post it. Say, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and post that. All right, perfect. Even I still ask, hey, do you mind if I post this? Oh yeah, go right ahead and post it. And even I do have some personal clients in there that aren't modeled. They're just everyday people who want to do something nice for their fiance or their husband or something like that. And I say, hey, I have this picture. I love it a lot. Do you mind if I maybe crop your head out and just make it to where no one knows who it is, but I can just post a shot? And they say, yes, go right ahead and do that. So I have done that too.
Got
So,
you.
yeah.
Got you.
That way I can at least show other clientele, hey, this I am capable of this for you and stuff like that. I could do this, I could do that. So yeah, it's you got to have a certain finesse with it too, very certain finesse.
Are there like other fields in like just to say like pornography and stuff like that? Have you ever done like a shoot for a model and like who's trying to advertise herself to a company?
Like that wise, no, I haven't done anything like that. I haven't gotten down that field at all, really. Now, if someone wants to do up their portfolio for their own personal use for giving to agencies, yeah, I've done stuff like that. Yeah. If they say, hey, this is not my new portfolio, I got the new pictures in here, this is what I can do to the agency. So I've done a couple little things like that. Yeah, I have.
Gotcha.
So,
I'm interested in the posing piece, right? Because I think you mentioned it earlier. You told her to hold that pose and you adjusted a little bit. Do you kind of see what you want before you take the shots? Like, how do you go about doing these poses? Do you have a set script, or is it kind of on the fly as you see it? Like, I could make this great because of this scenery. How does that work for you? What's your method?
Well, posing can be a very tricky thing. It really can. There's actually classes for posing because you want to make sure you have the right pose to accentuate that person's body type or style or however you want them to look. But majority of the time for me, I'm not going to say it's on the fly, but if it depends on the scenery at the time. Like the one with the maternity shoot. Like I said, she didn't have her leg popped or anything like that. She was just standing there, and I have to look because I'm looking at my camera. I'm setting up for the next shoot with my camera. And I'm like, stay right there. I saw it just hit me. As soon as I saw her standing there, I said, stay there. She goes, okay. I said, pop your leg out, point your toe, right there. Look out there. Don't look at me. Look out there. And I waited for the wind to start blowing, and that was it. Sometimes it just hits you, just like you said, it just hits you in that moment sometimes. You see something, oh, right there. That's what I want. Because you know what you want sometimes in your head, but you don't know how to say it or how to get them to do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you just sometimes what mostly works for me is I'll tell a person, okay, I want you to come over here real quick and just and turn around. Or just stand there, and I'll turn around and I'll be doing something while they're adjusting themselves. But if I'm doing something, I'll be looking up and stop right there. Stop, don't move. Because they're going to give you what you want without even knowing it.
Right.
And it looks natural. It looks natural. So that's what I do with that. Or another trick I do, if I want something to look more natural, more realistic, especially for this happens, I could do this for a man too. Sometimes I'll tell them, adjust your hair real quick because your hair, even though the hair might not be in their face, but once they adjust it, it looks natural and they do like a hand motion and it looks so natural. I'll take a picture real quick. And then it's like, whoa, how did you get that shot? I just told them to adjust their hair real quick. So
you see, that's what makes you a pro. And I think this is the unseen piece of photography because you see the memory before anybody else does.
Yes.
Like you said, you're looking in the camera and you're just looking for the moment. I'm going to be honest with you. You put me on the beach and take pictures of people. I'm not waiting for the wind to blow. I'm not telling you to point your toe or pop your leg. And I think this is what makes you a professional. And this is the beauty of having professional photographers capture some of these moments. So you're really out here catching memories for people. And then when they look at it, to your point, they're like, how did you catch that? Because it seems like there's no way you could have caught that. That's what it feels like as a consumer. That's awesome, man. And that's you serving the world.
Hey.
I love it. I love it.
Yes, sir.
Serving the world, babe. The funny part too. I usually get a lot of comments from my clients, and it makes them laugh, but they love it because I'm a hands-on poser. Meaning, not that I'm touching them, but meaning I show them what I want. So I
You
might get on
guide
the
them.
ground. I'll be, okay, I want you to do this. Okay, now watch my hand, put my hand, and I will start posing. And they look at me like, they just
You want me to do what? Look at this guy on the floor.
they're like, you really, they're like, you get into this, don't you? I'm like, well, how else am I going to show you what I want? I have to show you. I have to
Right.
pose myself to show you what I want. And they go, yes, I totally get it. And they love it though. They find it amusing, you know, and and I do it because it makes it easier so they can see it. You know, like I'm doing a wedding and I'll go to the bride. I'll set up the groom, right? And I'll go to the bride. Okay, this is what I want you to do. And I look at the groom. I'm like, do you mind if I touch you a little bit? He goes, okay, no problem. So I'll put my arm around him. I'll put my hand on his chest. I'm like, I want you to do this. And then I want you to gaze out. And then she's laughing.
Because she's looking at you
She's
doing this
looking at me
gaze
doing
like.
But at least she knows what I want. She knows what I want now.
Hey, but yo, you know what? That's also another thing for people to go ahead and gain the comfort to see you in your natural element, you making them laugh, you easing that stress. People feel comfortable with you, right?
Exactly.
These are awesome, like natural tools to go ahead and break that tension. Because a lot of times, you know, people are always coming and there's that third wall because I don't know you and I'm going to be sitting here trying to gain intimate moments with you. You know, you have to have some level of comfort with that individual behind the camera. So.
Exactly. I tell my, especially my wedding clients, I tell them, like, listen, I said, I want to meet you because I think photographers and their wedding clients, they have to bond. Mm-hmm. If I meet you, we might not bond, and that's fine. That's fine because I want to. If we don't bond, I'm not going to get the images you want because you don't feel comfortable with me. So that means then I don't get that job. But that's fine because that's not going to put a stain on my record. You know what I'm saying? So we have to meet. So I always tell them, even if you don't hire me, I said, make sure you meet the photographer. Even if you don't hire me and you go find someone else, make sure you meet them before your wedding.
Right.
Meet them, sit and talk to them, see if you guys vibe. I tell them all the time. So yeah, it might not be me, but whoever else it is, make sure you meet them because otherwise you might not vibe. And they go, oh my gosh, you're right. Because don't forget, photographers, we're in your face.
Yeah.
We're your family for that day. For those up to 8 hours, we are your family. We are in your face. And I want you to feel comfortable with me. I want you laughing. I want you to break down those walls so I can see who you are.
Right. You know, it's crazy that you say that because one difference I observed with photography for weddings, right? Before it was like a known standard that the photographer would come in a tux, like you would come appropriate for the particular setting.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's an issue where some of the younger photographers are coming in just street clothes to go to the wedding, and I think that's turning some people off. Have you ever encountered anything like that or seen anything like that?
No, I haven't. So far, I haven't yet. I have met other photographers who dress a little bit more relaxed, but it's not that it's like they're at the beach. It's like they're going, how can I say it? It's a casual day at work, like a casual
business casual.
Business casual. That's I've seen those before. They might just be wearing suspenders with a nice button-down shirt, and they look just regular casual. Because I'll be honest with you, as a photographer, all the moving around and squatting and jumping and bending that you're doing, I ain't got time to be in no tuxedo. I ain't got time for that. Because I am on the ground, I am moving, I'm doing everything I need to do to get the shot. So me personally, my attire is a black polo with either some slacks, some black slacks, or I even depending on what kind of wedding. Now I have certain outfits I wear depending on the wedding. If I'm doing a beach wedding, I might wear like a dark blue or black jeans. If I'm doing a beach wedding, because it's a kind of a relaxed wedding.
And it's sand there too, so it's more durable.
So I'm gonna be a little bit more relaxed.
Right.
If I'm doing a normal one in a wedding somewhere and we're in this nice venue, I'm gonna wear my black slacks with my polo shirt. You know, but my pants are gonna be loose fit, meaning they're gonna be movable, so I can move around. I can squat. I don't have to. Oh my God, these are so tight.
But you're not going to be coming up in shorts. You're not going to be in sandals.
No.
You're not going to be in jeans if you can avoid like that in the unless it's the beach setting, right?
Exactly.
So there's some type of structure to your dress code.
There's some type of structure.
Which you know, it's still not like an eyesore to see somebody in a polo and some slacks. You look clean.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
you're pressed. You know, you have this. It's a clean image. It may not be a tux, but at least you have a clean image, right? And,
exactly.
But I've seen people who like they look like very, very different when they were going into the setting, and the host that hired them was just like, "What is this? This doesn't even look professional at all." And the feel about it gave them a weird feel. So when you said always meet your photographer, right? That would probably speak to situations like that where people never met the actual photographer to have that type of understanding, like, hey, I'm going to want you to kind of dress appropriately.
I'll tell you this, I learned the kind of photographer I wanted to be when I started this business from my wedding photographer. She did everything I didn't want to be. I never met her. I didn't know who the hell she was until the day of my wedding. I'm like, oh, what the hell? Who are you? Oh, okay. We didn't really vibe.
Yikes.
She was just. I was like, it was like I was just another number to her. You know, me and my wife were just another number. The photos weren't bad, but she didn't make us feel comfortable. She didn't make us feel like she wanted to be there.
Right.
You know. And that's what I learned from her. I learned that that's not the kind of photographer I want to be.
You know what? The person that shot my wedding, I think, did the same thing.
You know, watch yourself.
Wait a minute.
All right. Once again, I just appreciate you coming and spending a little bit of time with us tonight, giving us a peek into your world. Kind of where you started, where you're at, and where you're going. I'm definitely excited for you and the accomplishments that are going to come your way, to everything you have achieved thus far. I guess the one thing I want from you at this moment is for anybody out there who wants to start a business, what advice would you give them at this particular point with knowing what you went through to get started with what you're doing?
Okay. An advice to anybody who wants to start a business. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to fail. And I think a lot of people are afraid to fail. They're afraid to try. They want it so bad, but they're afraid to. And I get it. I get that fear. I really, really do. But you can't be afraid. I tell myself this, and I tell my wife this, babe, we got one life and we got to make the best of it. We got to do what we can in it. Okay. Things might not be perfect. We might not always be happy, but at least we tried. So don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to fail, because with failure, there's always something on the opposite side of that. You go up because you're learning. Okay. Don't be afraid to fail. I failed multiple times and I learned from those failures, and I have propelled myself because of what I've learned so far from my failures. And I will say this, for someone who is starting out, this doesn't gear towards the person who's starting out. What it is the fear for those people that are trying to start a business. People who already have a business, don't be afraid to teach the next person. And I think that becomes a problem because everybody thinks, oh, if I teach them, then they're going to take my clientele. There's so many people on this planet. They're not going to take all your clientele. There's enough to go around. Okay, there's enough to go around. So us as business owners, we also still have to teach. We can't be afraid to bring up the next person. You know what I'm saying? And I've had, the reason I say that is because I've had guys. I have another photographer friend of mine who hired me on, and he showed me a lot. And with him hiring me on, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know my camera could do that. And it just helped propel me. He wasn't afraid that I didn't take his clientele. But there's just enough clients to go around. There's so much out there. So for business owners, don't be afraid to take someone under your wing and teach them. You don't have to take one under your wing, but at least just say, give them a little word of, hey, do this, do that. It's like, maybe I'll throw you this. I'll see what you got going on. Maybe I can help you with something. Don't be afraid to help people out. I'm always trying to help the next little guy out myself, always. Because we could work together eventually one day and build even more.
Facts,
so,
man.
Yeah, I think that's about what I can say for newbies and people who are already established.
Well, wise words from a wise man.
Yes,
Before we go ahead and close out, go ahead and tell people where they can contact you at. Hopefully you gain some business off of this show.
Well, I'll tell you right now, thank you everybody for having me. You can find me at www.jdsimmonsphotog.com. Phone number 561-201-0225. Call me or check out my website and send me an email. I'm here for you. Thank you guys for having me.
And there it is for the people that's serving people. And he's definitely out here doing it, brother. Once again, we appreciate you for coming on, man. You have a good night. And to all of our fans out there, subscribers, y'all go ahead, click that button. We'll be back with more content just like this. Y'all have a good night. And we gone.
Have a good night, guys.
Out of there.